E with Joe. Hello, and welcome to this third episode of F.E. with Joe. Fire Education with me, Joanna. Do you remember the job that I have? It's a really special job. I work with children, teenagers and families when there's been a fire. In today's story, we're going to learn about Freddy, friendship, feelings, and of course, to never play with fire. So, as you know, cut in and get ready to enjoy the story. The Day Freddy's Bubble Burst by Karen Johnston and Chuck Campbell. Illustrated by Don Gray. Freddy was in 3rd grade at Maple Glen School. Being in the 3rd grade means that Freddy is 9 years old. Freddy goes to school on a big, long, yellow school bus. How do you get to school? Can you see the maths book under Freddy's arm? What game is he playing today at school? That's right, it's baseball. Can you see the ball in his top pocket? Freddy's good at baseball and it's his favourite sport. Do you have a favourite sport? This week, Freddy's class was learning about bubbles. Bubbles? Yes, bubbles. Not the soapy kind you blow in the air. Not the kind you use to bathe your dog. I'm not sure that dog's very happy about having a bath. But bubbles that are invisible. His teacher called them space bubbles. Mrs. Burlap explained that these bubbles help people know how much space they need from each other to feel comfortable. She said each person has his or her own space bubble around them all the time. She said the size of your space bubble changes depending on how you are feeling at any given moment. Sometimes we need lots of space and we want people to be far away. Other times, we want our space bubble to be really small, with other people very close by. Sometimes we'll want to be in our space bubble on our own, and other times we'll want to let people in. It depends how we're feeling and who the person is. Freddy and all the kids in his class drew pictures of what they would look like in their own space bubbles. Freddy's drawn himself playing baseball. I wonder what you would draw in your space bubble. What would you be doing? Is anybody else in your space bubble? Or is it just you? Freddy enjoyed drawing his space bubble. He liked thinking about his feelings and who was in his space bubble and who definitely wasn't. But he was glad when the bell rang at 3 o'clock, for he and his friend Jason were going to work on a fort they were building in the field next to Freddy's house. Then Freddy saw Jason walking out of the school building with Scott, the most popular kid in the class. They were laughing. Freddy ran up to Jason. "What about our fort?" asked Freddy. Jason shot back, "I changed my mind." Freddy walked home by himself. There was his bike in the garage, with the flat tyre still not fixed. He looked for the pump, couldn't find it, and just gave up. Freddy walked to the half-built fort. He stood there, looking at the fort for a minute. Then a strange thing happened. Freddy started kicking in one side. Bang, smash, crash, thwack went the wood. Why do you think Freddy suddenly started to kick in the fort? I wonder if he was angry. Angry because Jason had gone off with Scott. Perhaps he was upset because Jason was his friend, not Scott's. Maybe he was jealous because Scott was smart. Whatever he was feeling, Freddy didn't like it, and so he kicked the wood harder. He stopped for a moment and spotted some matches in the grass. Who needs this fort? Thought Freddy. Who wants it? He struck the match and lit one piece of wood. Then he lit another piece and sat still, watching them burn. Freddy had a strange feeling in his tummy. He knew really he shouldn't be setting anything on fire. But he told himself, "What's the problem? I'm not doing anything wrong. I can't hurt anybody." Freddy hadn't noticed an old rag hidden under the broken fort. When the rag caught fire, flames shot up everywhere. Freddy was scared. He ran home as fast as he could. It had been Grandad's turn to make dinner, and so Freddy's mother was in the kitchen helping clear away the dishes. She saw the look on Freddy's face and then saw the smoke and flames in the field. She called the fire department. Do you know what number to ring to call the fire brigade? It's really important you know the number to call when there's an emergency. The fire truck arrived quickly. Freddy stood by quietly watching the firefighters put out the fire. Then he started to cry. One of the firefighters put his arm around Freddy and said, "We're going to need your help in filling out our fire report." Freddy nodded. He knew he'd have a lot of questions to answer. And Freddy decided he was ready to answer them. Well done, Freddy. He's going to tell the firefighter what happened. Like Freddy, we all get things wrong sometimes. But the most important thing is to tell someone what we've done. It's also really important that we tell someone when we feel like Freddy did, when he was upset about Jason, when he kicked the fort and set the fire. Who do you speak to when you feel upset? When you feel angry? Maybe it's a teacher. Maybe it's a friend. Whoever it is, it's important to tell someone you trust when you feel sad. It's also really important never to play with matches. Freddy has learned that, and you must learn it too. Never play with matches. Thank you for listening, and see you next time on FE with Joe.